So chances are the economic news has you wondering what the future holds for your church, right? With tariffs, AI disrupting the job market, tough news for recent graduates, and a lot more filling the headlines. What does that mean for church leaders? Well, it seems that the default for a lot of church leaders is to freeze, right? You grow cautious. You worry that things are going to get really tight once the word recession becomes reality. And sure, being cautious is better than being reckless. But what if tight economic times were more of an opportunity for your church than an obstacle? Believe it or not, bad times for the economy can be good times for churches, especially when your church doesn't buy into the scarcity mindset that so many churches do. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 principles church leaders can use to navigate uncertain economic times, even amidst a recession or high interest rates or unemployment or persistent inflation. I'm going to even show you what I learned when we raised $550,000 in 10 days during the Great Recession, okay? Bad times for the economy don't have to be bad times for churches. So first, a really quick story about when I launched a church during the Great Recession. In 2007, we had some financing lined up for some gear we're going to buy to launch both locations of what would become Connexus Church. That was November of 2007. Perfect timing, right? Well, the stock market started to crash. There was a lot of nervousness. And because of that, the vendor pulled their financing at the last minute. All of a sudden, I'm the lead pastor of this church plant. I need some cash to launch Connexus. And I didn't have it. I didn't have it personally, didn't have a denomination to back us. I didn't know what to do. So I did the only thing I knew how to do. I prayed. And then I asked the founding members of our church if they would give. And by the sheer grace of God, literally as the stock market is tumbling every day, as people are pulling out of the market, we raised $550,000 in 10 days from donors while everything economically crashed around us. And to make it more complicated, I had to tell them, you may not get a tax receipt for this because we didn't actually receive our charitable status until a year later. So I had to raise money telling them that there is absolutely no guarantee you're ever going to get a tax receipt for your donation. And you know what? They gave anyway. Now, I tell that story today, and I still look back in awe. It was the most money we had raised to that point in that short a window. And what did I learn in that season? Well, first of all, mission and vision beat the economy. Secondly, mission and vision are always in season, and in bad times, people are actually looking for a bigger, truer story to invest in. And there is no bigger, truer story than the story of Christ's love for the world and his church. And it's a way better alternative to the scrappiness and mess in the stock markets and, in the news, let alone, all the other stuff going on in the culture today. When the cause is strong enough, people give generously. But there's a lot of other things you can learn too for this moment and this season. Here are 5 things. Principle number 1, crisis of any kind is an accelerator and a magnifier. So not every church is going to do well in a recession because, as we all learned during COVID, crisis is an accelerator, right? It can accelerate your decline, but it can also accelerate your progress. So healthy churches took a temporary attendance hit in COVID, but returned stronger than ever. In fact, their giving went up, not down. Even if you remember this in 2020, the stock market crashed and millions lost their jobs. However, the crisis at the same time revealed the weakness inherent in struggling congregations. There were a number of churches that didn't make it through COVID. Others are still struggling. So what's the lesson here? Well, if your church has momentum, a strong vision, and a few financial reserves, even a bad economy is not going to slow you down. Instead, it will give you the opportunity to expand and to help your community like you never helped them before. Principle number 2, start helping people live with margin and live on mission. So what you need to do, and this is a good time to be watching a video like this, is start talking about money when you don't need money, okay? And when you do, make it more about what you want for people, not what you want from them. If you spend 90% of your message around money on the weekends, doing that, talking about what you want for people and talking maybe 10% about what you want from people, hey, this is a chance to give, etc., becomes way easier and much more natural. And that means, what does that mean? What do you want for people? Well, it means educating people on how to live with financial margin and live on mission. So at Connexus, we cast vision for people to pay cash for their vacation, to save for their child's, college education, to create an emergency fund. So when the fridge breaks, you got the cash sitting in the bank. And we teach them to live generously. We've taught them over the last 20 years how to drive a car, not a car payment, to buy a house, and to buy less house than they qualified for. We actually get in the weeds with them and help them budget. We teach them how to talk about money without fighting. And we teach people how to use money generously for the kingdom of God. In other words, what do we do as a church? We want them to win with their money, and we want them to be financially stable. Now, if you compare that to how I used to talk about money, or how most pastors still talk about money, when do we talk about it? We only talk about it when we need it. And that's a mistake. Nobody else in this culture is going to teach them how to handle money responsibly. That is your opportunity. Principle number 3, encourage those with more to sacrifice more. You know what's surprising is a lot of people increased their giving after COVID shut down the world. And we live in a world right now of growing income inequality. And as that spreads, not everybody gets hit equally by hard times. So some people in your church, it's easy to say everybody got hit. Well, some people in your church will have stable incomes regardless of what happens. Others might even prosper more when the economy goes down. So here's what you do, because we're Christians. You want to encourage people who have more to sacrifice more for the sake of those who have less. Now, the New Testament is filled with examples of this. Not everybody gets impacted the same way during economic downturns. And that gives you the opportunity to foster community and share responsibility. If this video strikes a chord, the next bit is for you. I go into a lot deeper detail on all of this inside The Art of Building a Generous Congregation. I think one of the biggest mistakes I see pastors and churches make is to treat everyone exactly the same when it comes to giving. Just like some people, are wired to lead or teach, others are wired to give. It's a gift, and not everybody has it the same way. So I've got a course, The Art of Building a Generous Congregation, and in it, you get a proven set of insights, strategies, and systems to identify and disciple the givers in your church. I'll show you how to cast a compelling vision that moves people to action, to build a culture of generosity that doesn't just survive tough times, but grows through them. So if you're ready to move past awkward offering moments and actually lead your church into real generosity, check out The Art of Building a Generous Congregation. It's linked beneath this video. Principle number 4, care for those in need. The church is at its best when we reach out to struggling people. Whether it's financial assistance, emotional support, or practical guidance, the church has to be a beacon of hope in a world that's losing hope. Or it might look like a food giveaway, or encouraging small group members to really care for each other and build into each other. You see, when people in your church pool funds to buy groceries or pay rent for someone in their circle, you know what the church is? It's just being the church. That's what we're doing. That's what we've done for thousands of years. And people sometimes just need a reminder that they have permission to care for each other that way. A generous church is the church at its best. Principle number 5, broker hope. Napoleon is attributed as saying that leaders are dealers in hope, and he's right. One hallmark of leadership is providing hope when nobody else can see it. When times are bad, nobody else can see it. That's true when people are struggling financially. Financial stress is real stress, but if the church isn't going to provide hope in hard times, who is? The church's role during economic challenges isn't just a responsibility. It's like an opportunity, right? To embody the love and compassion and hope of our faith. And so it's your job as a leader, my job as a leader, to help people see, hey, this has happened before, and the church has been there, and we're going to get through it, and we're going to get through it together. Again, we can do this. So yeah, bad times for the economy can be good times for churches. If you found this helpful, I'd love for you to leave a comment, subscribe. Maybe you want to share this video with your team or your elder board or your staff. And remember, mission and vision beat the economy. Your church doesn't have to hit pause. It might be actually time to move forward.